Don't do this. Don't connect, configure, conquer. Like what? Conquer? Conquer. We're talking about finances. This design telegraphs exactly that. They're not ready. So the other day, I was reading the news and I saw that Y Combinator, which is a pretty famous venture capital firm, early stage investor in a lot of very famous and well-known startups today. Their startup batches haven't been as amazing as in past years, but I took a look at this batch and I looked at their homepage landing pages and thought it might be interesting to do a persuasion and conversion teardown so that you as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, can benefit from seeing what are these startups doing right in terms of their marketing and where are they falling short in terms of their landing pages, persuasion, communication, and overall just marketing power of their presentation. With that being said, let's get into it. Hi, my name is Matt Ack. I'm the founder and CEO of this company, Grobo.co. In case you don't already know, this video is part of a series of videos that we call the Massive Podcast, MASS, standing for Marketing AI Sales and Learning How to Scale. We have our own B2B done for you service. We're also coming out with our own AI do-it-yourself marketing platform for free. We're about to launch the freemium version of that. If you want to get early access, just don't tell anyone I told you. Just go to app.grobo.com and you can actually get early access there. We're just not advertising it yet, but it will be announced publicly pretty soon. We create these podcasts to help you as an entrepreneur or as a marketer just learn from us and our journey. In 2021, we hit 7 figures for the first time as a company. Started as an agency in 2010. We came out with our own info products. We come out with multiple productized services, which we scaled to 6 figures. And one of those ultimately remains our core service today and propelled us to the point where we've sold millions of dollars productized services at this point. We're not done growing yet. We want to grow to be a multi-billion-dollar company next, as I shared in our most recent video, part of the 33-day challenge. So I invite you along on the journey. Let's learn together. With that said, let's get into the first example. All right, so here's the news article or blog article that I came across from TechCrunch, where they were covering 9 recent startups that were funded and backed by Y Combinator, or YC for short. And they were presenting their startups and their startup products and services concepts. Some of them are existing. Some of them seem more kind of conceptual or just in the process of being built and were validated by the market. So the examples that we're going to look at are from startups that are just across spectrum in terms of development. I think some of them might have like very little, if any, code. They might just be kind of going out to the market and really validating their concepts. And others have a complete product or service already built out that they're offering and actively selling. We look at the headline, Automate Data Center Design Using AI. Pretty much all of the startups you can see, they universally say backed by Y Combinator, because that is some pretty good social proof. Y Combinator is very famous for a wide variety of startups that they have backed. So for example, some of the top most famous Y Combinator companies, many of which you've probably heard of, some of them you have to have heard of unless you've been living under a rock, are Stripe, Airbnb, Instacart, and many, many others. Although again, like they really haven't had any big home runs in recent years, but that's actually something that I have heard from other venture capitalists and other entrepreneurs. And there's some questions about why that is the case. So Entangl AI, automate data center design using AI. Entangl AI detects errors, proposes and implements solution in your engineering project. So engineering project, it's pretty broad. You know, what constitutes an engineering project? Is it, if I'm building a chair, I mean, that probably wouldn't constitute, just using common sense, engineering project, but you kind of understand, I suppose, like what I'm getting at when they say engineering project. Now, data center is much more specific wording, and it makes sense to use that phrase in their headline. It seems more concrete and more niche, and I am not in this niche myself, although I am a web developer, programmer. I've worked with AI APIs as well. What does it mean to automate the data center design using AI? I mean, and is it really about instead just detecting errors, proposing and implementing solutions? So is this more about maintenance, for example? And how is this better than what they currently do today? And the two things, they seem different. Like the subheadline here seems to deal with the concept of the data center already being architected and helping you to run it and maintain it. And this one, automating data center design. And perhaps this is industry jargon, so I might just be talking out of turn here, but that seems more like, okay, like you are constructing and re-architecting or architecting from the ground up the entire data center operation in general. But if we scroll down, let's take a quick peek at their 30-second video.
Errors slipping through your engineering reviews are costly.
Okay, so notice how like the word is changing. It's engineering reviews versus data center design versus something that is talking about engineering projects. And it sounds like ongoing error detection and proposition and implementation of solutions. Again, perhaps if you are in this industry and you are a potential customer of what it is that they are selling, perhaps this different jargon, this inconsistent jargon makes sense. But it seems like a potential issue as far as communication in terms of clarity. Let's continue. Okay, so there is video from a fairly recent incident that happened aboard a plane where the side panel just blew out of the plane, ultimately landed safely, but I believe it was related to potentially an engineering problem. But it is somewhat relevant because a lot of people have seen this in the news lately. Crawls through your knowledge bases, detects problems before they occur, alerts your engineers. Okay, so sounds like for a highly complex type of a project that this could potentially help to detect issues before they happen, because AI, when you're dealing with high complex data, like large knowledge bases, which I imagine what it takes often to construct not just complex pieces of software, but especially when hardware is integrated into the setup. Again, could be a great solution, but I don't know, I think making the example a bit more concrete. A lot of explainer videos, they will tell a story of their ideal customer. And they do that for a reason, because it's to avoid this, where it's kind of too broad, too generic. And I mean, they're talking about data centers, and on the other hand, talking about avionics. So it's unclear. Specificity is, in a way, like it's not social proof, but it feels credible. It just helps the writing and the communication to feel and be much more credible. I think what would make this more persuasive is again, just like more elaboration and specificity around the problem, so that you can also just create that contrast of like, well, what is it that they're doing today? How is it working today? Or not working? Are they already using AI? Because I think that would be one of the first objections. It's like, well, talk about using AI, and people are very cynical about AI. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of excitement. Not us. We're kind of like the anti-hype brand over here. We try to give it to you just authentically and honestly. But I think a lot of YouTubers and other influencers have really and even company founders have really overhyped AI. And so it has created a lot of cynicism in the market. So when you say AI, they say, well, I have this other tool over here, this chatbot, I just kind of pop in, or I can integrate with this API on our own over here, especially for engineering-based companies. It was like, what? I can code my own script. I can create a loop to go through our knowledge base. It can be a more customized solution. It can be simpler. And I can just set it up to run once a day, because again, you're dealing with teams and engineers in this case. So how is this going to be so much better? And they have more content on their site, which might address that. But I would say for the homepage, especially if you're looking to sell people, don't assume they're necessarily going to go beyond the homepage. You want to try to answer an objection like that. That was my reaction to it. All right, next example, Exa Laboratories, the next paradigm of sustainable computing, backed by Y Combinator. So they all got that social proof on there. Obviously, they were either advised to do it or just because it's good social proof. So they probably thought to do it. We're making reconfigurable chips. So this is a company that makes something that is superior to a GPU or a TPU, which is what other companies that are building these foundational AI models like GPT-4, Propix Claude, and many others, they're building these foundation models, but they need hardware to train these foundation models on and then to run these foundation models quickly at scale. It's pretty clear the very specific problem that they're tackling here. Not so much of a sales page, for this type of a company. Again, there aren't a ton of companies that specialize in this type of a thing, and you don't really need, it's very common not to have this type of a company have a sales page necessarily type of setup for their homepage, just by the nature of the business and who they're selling to. Again, I don't have deep experience in this industry in particular, but that's the path that I've seen. Overall, it doesn't need to be persuasive. It just needs to be clear. it does seem, at least in terms of surface level, it does seem clear enough. Moving on, Cpra Bio. This one I wanted to keep in here as well. Again, it's not for this type of a company. They are doing probably most of their work offline. It's not like an e-commerce or a SaaS company. But let's look at this headline because this is describing what it is that they do. Cpra Bio, cancer immunotherapy that turns cancer cells into biofactories minting their own destruction. Cancer immunotherapy that turns cancer cells into biofactories minting their own destruction. Okay, so what do you think about that? Just off the cuff, you might agree with me here already when I say it's a bit, I don't know if too clever is the right word. It's not like they're trying to sound smart. It could just be, like this is just how they think or this is the jargon, but it comes off as like you have to kind of like really think about it. If you want to make sure that this is clear, even to people who are in the market, don't make people think in general. Like one of the best ways to be persuasive is to be clear. The better way to be persuasive is to make people feel understood. Since this page is not about selling, I don't think you really need to, empathize too much with the reader, except that if you want them to just come to the site and get it immediately, which again just helps more people to know about you because they will understand what it is you do. They could kind of put you in that box in their mind. Oh, okay. So what it really does is they're developing cancer drugs or cancer treatments that turn cancer cells in the human body into almost kind of like mimicking the behavior of white blood cells where they start attacking themselves. Right? So that's not perfect. That's really just off the cuff. But you could simplify it down even further. Again, a big part of what we are getting into here is how do you communicate clearly in a way that is memorable and that people just understand. LedgerUp.ai is the next one. So another AI startup. This one, it's kind of all over the place. It seems like they might have this in development. I mean, that you get kind of like images of the dashboard, but it's unclear how much is actually functioning and real. There's no video. I guess it will be a SaaS company. Your first and only finance hire. So it's relating it to hiring. So is this an AI agent? And then it says, get personalized insights into your financials and stay tax and investor ready with real-time analytics, all powered by an AI bookkeeper. Is it actually an AI bookkeeper or is it a dashboard that has some AI features? Again, AI is cool. It is kind of sexy and attractive and a shiny object to a lot of people, but what is the value of it? Like what fundamentally does it do and do better than what else is currently out there? What is the problem that is solving? Get personalized insights into your financials and stay tax and investor ready. So are they going after other startups? If so, just say it. Like, let's go. Because I kind of imagine almost that they're just kind of figuring out what the concept is and how it's different. And that's why I get the impression it shows that, it's obviously not a finished product and where they're going with it. Like, what are the insights? Like, why is it valuable to get insights into my financials? And if I'm staying tax and investor ready, I mean, those are two totally separate things. Like, if I'm staying investor ready, it's like, if I'm a startup, I probably don't have that many transactions anyway. So what sort of insights are you going to give me? So they have some social proof here is like having another, it's like changing way too fast, is getting a quick snapshot of where the cash flow of my business stands. Okay, never have to worry about my books being closed. Like having another employee, they save me 34 hours a month. Okay, it's just going too fast. So user experience that way is not good. Simplify your business's finances. Connect, configure, conquer. No. Way too generic. Don't do this. Don't connect, configure, conquer. Like what? Conquer? Conquer. We're talking about finances. What are you conquering? What are we conquering? Come on. Streamline your finances and return to growing your business in minutes. Return from what? Again, what is that pain point? What is the problem? Autonomous invoice management. Because again, like each of these features or even sections, they could be an entire software product, a problem to focus on by themselves. So this is showing invoices collected, and there are entire SaaS solutions just around invoicing, and just around invoicing for like one specific niche, like just for freelancers and agencies, for example. Unlock hidden savings, and they have this example kind of doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, OpenAI, $15, $458, so it's a big jump. And then it's like savings found, 25,000. Okay, so there's multiple references also to OpenAI on this page. It's like, okay, why is that the case? Are they partner with them or get featured or tweeted about by them or something? It's a little bit distracting in a way. Tax ready every day. I mean, are you going to rely on this thing to do your taxes? Probably not. Again, is it just doing that? Like I would trust it more if it was just doing that. Explore our services and features. You can go fill out the form if you want. Smart finances for smart founders. Our AI-driven platform ensures your transactions are always categorized and matched, keeping your financials up to date and allowing you to monitor burn rate and runway. Okay, is that, I mean, again, are they going after startups? If so, just say it. Generate executive summaries. I don't know. Access instant financials for investors. Understand and forecast cash flow. Again, like, I don't know, are these really, I mean, doing taxes is a painful problem, but not seeing the problem or the value here just because it's all over the place and not seeing, is this for me? Is this for someone else? Let's look at org. Organize your organization to foster healthy and productive teams. All right, so immediately I got a question. Can you guess what the question is? Do you have the same question? Organize your organization to foster healthy and productive teams. What's the question? The question is, what do you mean by healthy? Like, is this for health? Like, you're gonna make me stand up and, you know, we're gonna do a group exercise, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or is it like the team comes together to do that once a day or do some yoga? I mean, what do you mean by health or healthy? So maybe I immediately have that question and immediately it makes me skeptical. So be careful when you use the word and. Because I've already read this page over and yeah, the word healthy, I'm not even sure why they're using that word still, even after reading this over in advance. But OrgOrg, not in love with the name OrgOrg. Maybe it's a good name, I don't know. OrgOrg is a suite of apps that keeps teams productive and healthy. Again, there's that healthy word. As your organization grows from 2 to 500 plus. Okay, it's a bit generic. No mention of the problem. Kind of shocking because, you know, these companies are advised by smart investors who are just, I am sure, like, you know, this has been like the staple that is like the pain point. What's the pain point? What's the problem? What's the problem? I mean, and it's cliche among investors who are smart and investors who are not the smart money, so to speak. So even if, I don't know, maybe the investors at Y Combinator, I don't know what level they're on. I just don't know who they are. So I'm not, you know, saying good or bad, but I'm not seeing most of these startups here. They're just not coming with the fire in terms of talking about problem. Access important content with short links. Okay, one of the first items after an initial description is you're talking about a feature. Not good copywriting. Greet with a unified new tab experience. So you can kind of understand what it is they're doing. So, but again, like, what's the story of the typical user here? And that word healthy, there it is for healthy, productive, and connected team. Like, it's kind of generic. And again, healthy, like, it almost feels like this politically correct word. And like, I almost like don't want to like it for that reason. They do not define healthy, like, because it sounds like it's not physically healthy, but is it like healthy in quotes, like where everyone feels good? I don't know, like sometimes people aren't going to feel good. If it's work, you know, there's going to be challenges. We want to be challenged and we're all human and people are going to make mistakes. So, I mean, I don't know, like healthy, it's throwing me off, man. All right, we're not going to go through all of these, but I like this one. So here's the next company, Oway.io. Not loving the name, but I think compared to the other sites that we've looked at, I think this one perhaps does the best job of communicating its value thus far. We see it's called the Ride Share Freight Platform. Ship pallets for up to 50% off overnight with the click of a button. And the CTA is to get an instant quote. Cool. So, I mean, it's clear like what is the problem and the solution. They're kind of hinting at like, okay, like what people care about is they want to solve the problem of I have something that needs to be shipped and it's not big enough to take up the entire space in an entire truck, for example. So they relate it to the word, you know, ride sharing for freight. This is common. I looked this up prior to this video. Emphasis on cost, up to 50% off, right? And they have some social proof that they're linking to, but I think it's better to put that on the site because they're linking people to go off-site and that takes them out of the funnel. I think their reviews are great. They're actually perfect so far. Perfect 5 out of 5 for 35 reviews that they've had posted. It shows they exist. And it's interesting that this is also the only company, I guess because they're more established, but they just don't care enough, I guess, to put Y Combinator on their front page. Perhaps it's elsewhere on their website, but it's interesting that they make that choice rather than adding it to their page somewhere. But I think the social proof should be present here. Simple and affordable 1 to 8 pallet freight shipping for everyone. Okay. LTL, I believe, means like less than a full truckload, which makes sense. So they have the 3 steps here: get a quote, match with the driver, and then overnight delivery. Simple, straightforward, you understand it. The one thing I do wonder, this is just an open question, I like the idea of relating to ride sharing, but could it also cut both ways where it's like, you hear ride share, you think Uber, but is that necessarily a good thing? Ride-sharing freight shipping system. Because if it's Oway's ride-share system, okay, if this was the only thing you saw on the page, you might say, okay, is this like Lyft? Whoa. So overall, pretty good. If getting an instant quote is the main CTA, then perhaps having that be the main CTA here as well. Love this background video. I think if they could continue that theme, because it just sort of like, it just makes the company feel more real. I'm not really a fan of this background. It almost looks like, to me, I think explosion or smoke from smokestacks potentially, because it's clouds. And it kind of makes it a little bit more difficult to read the letters. So the contrast is important when you're putting words on top of a background. So that's something to always consider. Same thing for the graphics. It might distract from that. So it's something maybe a little different, maybe no animation there, but using something like this to better tell the story perhaps for each of the steps, maybe the background could change, or maybe the image over here, instead of being this animation, perhaps it would be something like this. Curon AI is the next one. Simulate the Earth. This one's going to be quick because it seems like the company is really just focused on building their technology. So let's just take a look at the first couple sentences. Curon, if I'm saying that right, Curon is building foundation models for simulating Earth, starting with weather, from assessing the risk of wildfires to predicting the energy grid load. We provide an infrastructure layer for our planet. Cool. So frontier models push the boundaries of what can be simulated on Earth and improve decision-making across vertical sectors, because this was the next question. Who is this for? Sectors like energy, insurance, agriculture, defense, logistics. Okay, so they're going to simulate this data and then they're going to sell it. I assume probably companies like hedge funds probably would want to use this data as well. High frequency trading companies would probably find it valuable as well. But certainly the ones that they name, energy, insurance, agriculture, defense, logistics, and so on and so on. So this is actually one of the clearest, even though there's not much here, just in terms of like who are the founders and what does it do. I mean, I think most people would understand what it is that it does and who it's for and why it would be valuable. It's valuable to know, I don't know, is it actually going to rain? Is that hurricane going to hit? At the time of recording this video, we have a hurricane here in Florida, beautiful Florida, from which I shall soon move, going to Miami because this hurricane is going to hit us. So would love for this solution, if it was available, to accurately predict where is it going to make landfall. Which also begs the question, how accurate is this actually? Because undoubtedly, Curon is not the first company to tackle this. So what is it that makes them different from other companies that already do this? So they want to, because I read that they want to, I think in the TechCrunch article covering, they want to simulate the whole Earth. I mean, just weather by itself, getting that to be more accurate, and how much more accurate, that would be interesting. Theseus, not much to really say here. They have one little piece of text, GPS denied navigation. So they work with drones. I assume contractors, US military. Again, one of those companies that don't really need a sales page for a homepage. They create technology. And I only know this because I read this in the articles. If it was beneficial to them, giving a little more context behind what they do. Otherwise, like, why bother having a page? I mean, I guess other than like saying we're backed by Y Combinator. I mean, it's cool, but maybe add a little more description. Like drone makers, manufacturers, defense contractors, similar radar-based equipment where GPS is needed, but it doesn't work. And these drones can still navigate even when, their radar or navigation systems are jammed, because that's what they do. 3 words doesn't quite express that fully. Xtraffic. This will be the last one, and then I have a bonus one that's actually not Y Combinator, but that is actually quite good, and I think you'll like it. You'll see why. Solving the world's traffic problems. Interested. Are you a city or town interested in reducing your traffic congestion? Fill out the interest form and we'll be in touch. So again, I am not deeply familiar with this specific space, but if you had to guess, how many startups are there like Xtraffic where they are also solving the world's traffic problems? Because traffic is a very common problem that a lot of people experience day to day, and using, I guess, better road design and traffic lights in terms of scheduling can really help to reduce that. And even potentially, collaborating with companies like Google. Most of the car navigation systems are based on Google Maps. But again, I mean, why not put more on the page? Your company is getting a lot of attention because of Demo Day. In this case, I mean, I don't know if their market is niche in the sense of it's only high population, high density cities where there is a lot of traffic congestion. So then maybe that would limit their market to like between 50 to 100 cities in the US potentially. In which case, I don't know, maybe less effort in terms of communication here works better in some way. But why would it hurt to be more specific and more clear in terms of, okay, you're solving the world's traffic problems. How? How are you doing it? Because if someone is going to fill out this interest form, if they get on the call with you, like the more context that they have, the further down the funnel they are, because otherwise you're potentially just going to waste time. It depends on too, like how far along your solution is. But for something like this, maybe it's just very early stage and perhaps they don't have like a finished product yet. Maybe they're just in customer development mode. So maybe that's what's going on. But this design telegraphs exactly that. They're not ready. Okay, so this one is a bonus one that I'm just including here. OptiSurface.com. We came across this website because they actually were nice enough to give us some feedback on the Grobo AI platform, which again, we just have launched or about to launch, depending on when this video comes out, for free. We have a free or freemium tier, and you can go and check it out. I'll tell you right now, it's app.grobo.com if you want to check it out. It's free. And you can use the Grobo AI automation platform to produce content, social media posts, strategy, marketing documents, SEO, keyword research, blog articles, lead magnets, and we're adding new features over time. But we're launching it for free because we want to get your feedback, and then we're going to keep iterating. So OptiSurface was nice enough to give us a little bit of feedback in the recent past. I believe it was them or someone on their team. But I thought that I would just feature them in this video, give them some free marketing, because actually their website is pretty good. Here's the homepage. Water problems robbing your farm profit. Discover how we save up to 80% in earthworks. I don't know what earthworks is, but you already know what is the problem and who this is for. It's for farmers, and it's related to water problems that are impacting their bottom line, their business, which is their farm, their livelihood. So one sentence, we already know all of that. Discover how we save up to 80% in earthworks. Again, earthworks, I don't know, is that jargon? Is that a word that farmers know? Probably. Increase farm value by millions and get a 1-year payback. That's a pretty good value proposition. It's specific, right? And that has some implied credibility in it because it is specific. So when you're giving examples or numbers, automatically, unconsciously, it's going to make it feel and seem more credible. That's just what happens, okay? Don't use words like earlier, like connect, configure, and conquer. No, that goes the opposite way of having copy that is conversion focused and that conveys credibility. With the leading farmwork solution for drainage, irrigation, and erosion. Take advantage of GPS and AI to get dramatic savings in earthworks over traditional methods. Unique design capabilities to suit different farming systems. Intuitive maps and reports from easy-to-use service and software. Cool. Trusted on 2 million acres. So that's a nice bit of social proof. If there was a way to move that above the fold, I would say do it. Same thing for the key call to action. I mean, just put more of this like above the fold in general. But I think the copy overall is pretty damn good, actually. I don't know if this is considered a lot, but it sounds pretty good to me. Also, the social proof here, very nice. It's very clear who it's for, what is the problem, what is the value proposition. Now this is powerful, at least to me, as a non-farmer speaking. But contrast is persuasive, okay? Contrast is persuasive. So they show a piece of land here that has used this solution, OptiSurface, with no ponding, and one that has not. So you see the water, and then over here, no water, which I assume is bad because that's what they're talking about. No drowned crop, OptiSurface field, next to regular crop. This is powerful. This is very similar to, you have a personal trainer, right? They might have their own website or personal training brand, lots of different brands out there like this. And they showed the before and the after. Before is your person might have like larger stomach, a little more overweight or overweight. And then after is like, they got the perfect lighting and yeah, they've lost weight, they're in better shape, or at least you hope. They even show the yield in terms of bushels. I believe BU is bushels per acre. So from 135 to 245, 81% increase. That's very compelling. These are fairly objective measures in terms of results for customers of OptiSurface. I think this page overall is great. I think it's actually superior to a lot of the other pages that we looked at earlier in this video. One of the things that does concern me, though, is a 30-day money-back guarantee. They really do a great job talking about the problem. The contrast here, very compelling. The value seems to be clear, but it's like, how is this achieved? Like, what is OptiSurface? Like, it's software that you plug into your existing farm management software? It's a drone, it's a service, it's a combination of both, of software and service. It's powerful in all those parts, but it's missing how it's delivered. And then it says 30-day money-back guarantee. So this kind of throws me off. This, I think, helps to show confidence, but I can think just the way that this is presented, it really kind of throws you off, because with us, I think it makes more sense because of how we packaged it into, like, it's one offering, and it is a productized service, and it's productized to the extent that, we have our own custom software. You log in, you delegate whatever you want. So the 30-day money-back guarantee is kind of throwing me off a bit, because it's sort of like commoditizes, in a way, something that is potentially a customer would not want to be seen, and they might not want to see it in that way. Does that make sense? Hopefully I'm articulating that well enough. Dear grower, yield is king when it comes to farm profit, as the saying goes. Okay, so this is potentially a great authentic photo of the two founders, but it's very small on the page. Authentic photos can be very compelling as far as just conversion. And I can tell that this is a great humanizing photo. I think it should be bigger on the page. Also, the letter kind of format here feels a little bit random or out of place, the positioning of this. So I think just like a designer could help to really clean this up. I'm sure that some of the content here is actually fantastic. So overall, I think the page is written quite good. Just it can be improved a bit. People don't like to be sold, but they love to buy. Also, the copyright year is out of date. That should be automated to change whenever the year changes, because this can make your website look out of date. Okay, so what did you think of this video? I would love to hear from you in the comments. So if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment, and please like and subscribe. And I really appreciate if you can share this video with someone else who you think will get value from it. So I hope you got tremendous value. Love to hear from you. And if you are interested in making your landing pages convert better, or building landing pages in general, where you need help to write effective copy, design and optimize for mobile, build an entire website, or just execute your digital marketing tasks and projects in general, check out grobo.com with our all-in-one done-for-you service, because you get a full team of proven, battle-tested marketing professionals across a wide range of skill sets who can just do unlimited marketing tasks for you at a varying degree of delivery speed, depending on what your budget is and how many projects you want to actually be running in parallel. By the time this video goes live, you can sign up for free, so you can get a full preview of what it's like to be a client. So you can log into the system, you can start chatting with the project manager, you can scope out your first project. You can see over 100 examples of project and task templates that we already have in the templates library, and you can start delegating. It's great value. So check it out at grobo.com. Thank you so much. Keep groboing. Stay focused.